Human beings often measure kindness by how much they give: time, effort, attention, or emotional support. But rarely do we measure the cost of that giving. In a world where availability is mistaken for virtue and self-sacrifice is celebrated more than self-respect, many people unknowingly fall into the same trap, offering themselves until they have nothing left. This thesis explores the psychology of overgiving, the emotional exhaustion that follows, and the transformative power of setting boundaries. Using the narrative of Ethan, the village helper, we uncover universal truths about human behavior and why becoming available to everyone often leads to losing oneself. The great philosopher Lao Tzu once said, "Care about people's approval, and you will be their prisoner." This single idea threads through the entirety of Ethan's story and through the quiet struggles of countless individuals today. 1. The burden of being needed. At the core of Ethan's life was one belief: that constant helpfulness defines a good person. His reputation as the dependable man of the village became so strong that everyone around him subconsciously stopped taking responsibility for their own lives. When a cart stuck, a roof leaked, or a heart needed comforting, the solution was simple: call Ethan. This pattern mirrors a psychological phenomenon known as compulsive caretaking, where a person derives identity and worth from solving other people's problems. Such individuals are often praised for their generosity, yet they quietly suffer from chronic exhaustion, unspoken resentment, and emotional emptiness. Ethan's condition reflects a global truth. People who always say yes eventually forget what it feels like to prioritize themselves. The philosopher Khalil Gibran once warned, "The smallest act of kindness is worth more than the greatest intention." But he also added, "You give but little when you give of your possessions. It is when you give of yourself that you truly give." Ethan gave of himself so completely that nothing remained for his own life. 2. The consequence of endless giving. While Ethan helped everyone, his own life slowly deteriorated. His field remained unattended, his home fell into disrepair, his health declined quietly behind the facade of constant smiles. These are not fictional elements. They reflect the real consequence of people-pleasing behavior. When a person becomes the emotional and physical support system for everyone around them, their sense of self becomes secondary. The silent assumption, in families, workplaces, and communities, is that the helper will always be available. After a while, their labor becomes invisible. Their sacrifice becomes expected, and their own needs become irrelevant. Ethan's mother's gentle question, "Who helps you?" is the question thousands of selfless individuals avoid confronting. Because the truth is painful. Many people value what you provide, not who you are. As the German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer noted, almost all of our sorrows spring out of our relations with other people. Ethan's tragedy reached its peak on the day he sacrificed his own harvest to protect another's. This moment represents the climax of his internal conflict, the belief that goodness requires self-abandonment. But goodness without boundaries is not virtue, it is self-destruction. 3. The turning point. Wisdom from the river. Old George's analogy about the river offers profound philosophical insight. A river nourishes everything around it, but when it overflows, it destroys. In the same way, a person without boundaries may drown under the weight of their own kindness. This aligns with the wisdom of the Stoics. Seneca wrote, "A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." Ethan suffered more than he needed to because he believed that refusing someone was equivalent to moral failure. George's advice, to pause before agreeing and ask whether he is capable of helping, is a lesson in self-awareness, the foundational principle of emotional intelligence. Saying, "Not today," became Ethan's first act of reclaiming his life. And though guilt followed him initially, something remarkable happened. For the first time in years, he made progress on his own dreams. In psychological terms, Ethan began rebalancing the scales of emotional labor, something every human must eventually learn. 4. The silence. After no. A harsh but necessary revelation. When Ethan stopped being constantly available, he faced an uncomfortable silence. The people who once relied on him did not check on him when he struggled. This painful moment shattered the illusion that constant giving creates a reciprocal sense of obligation. But this silence also delivered the truth. People value what you protect, not what you sacrifice. When Ethan valued his own time and well-being, others began to respect him for the first time. This transformation aligns with the words of the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know the truth. The truth was simple. Ethan's worth was never dependent on his sacrifices. His realization that self-respect feels like peace marks a psychological rebirth. 5. The emergence of a new self. As Ethan practiced better boundaries, people gradually adjusted. Neighbors grew more independent. The village began solving its own problems. And ironically, Ethan became more respected, not less. His availability no longer defined him. His self-respect did. He regained control of his land, rebuilt his home, and rediscovered joy. This mirrors real-life outcomes. Individuals who learn to say no often experience 1. Improved mental health. 2. More balanced relationships. 3. Greater productivity. 4. Increased confidence. 5. Deeper personal fulfillment. The world did not fall apart when Ethan stopped sacrificing himself. It merely reorganized itself. This reflects the timeless insight of psychologist Carl Jung. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Ethan finally accepted himself, not as a tool for others, but as a human with needs, limits, and value. 6. The moral philosophy of boundaries. The story of Ethan illustrates a crucial ethical principle. Kindness must be balanced with self-preservation. Boundaries are not walls, but filters. They separate what nourishes us from what drains us. This principle has deep philosophical roots. Stoicism encourages individuals to prioritize what is within their control, and emotional depletion caused by others is rarely under our control. Buddhism teaches compassion, but also warns against attachment and self-neglect, emphasizing the middle way. Aristotelian ethics promotes moderation. Virtue lies between deficiency and excess. Modern psychology defines healthy boundaries as essential for emotional stability and respectful relationships. Saying no does not mean rejecting others. It means honoring yourself. As the poet Rumi beautifully expressed, set your life on fire. Seek those who fan your flames. A life spent feeding everyone else's fire will eventually burn out your own. 7. A mirror for our time. Ethan's story is a mirror for anyone who has ever 1. Said yes out of guilt instead of desire. 2. Felt taken for granted. 3. Been the emotional support system for everyone. 4. Abandoned personal goals for others. 5. Carried the silent exhaustion of being the strong one. Modern society subtly trains people to equate worth with usefulness. But identity cannot be built on utility. It must be built on authenticity. The greatest tragedy is not that others use us. It is that we allow it because we fear disappointing them. 8. Choosing peace over approval. At the end of his journey, Ethan learned a fundamental truth. People respect what you respect. When he protected his time, his energy, and his dreams, he taught others how to treat him. This reflects the wisdom of Mahatma Gandhi. A no uttered from deepest conviction is better than a yes merely uttered to please, or worse, to avoid trouble. Saying no is not a rejection of others. It is an affirmation of self-worth. 9. Conclusion. The courage to value yourself. Ethan's transformation is a powerful lesson for modern life. Constant availability does not make a person good. It makes them exhausted. Endless giving does not guarantee appreciation. It often leads to invisibility. The world does not reward self-neglect. It exploits it. True kindness requires strength, and strength requires boundaries. To those who relate to Ethan, remember: 1. You are not selfish for protecting your time. 2. You are not cruel for prioritizing your peace. 3. You are not wrong for expecting reciprocity. 4. You are not weak for feeling tired. 5. You are not a bad person for saying no. Your life is your field. If you don't cultivate it, no one else will. When you stop being available for everything, you finally become present for yourself. When you stop trying to save everyone, you save your own spirit. And when you say yes to yourself, the world begins to reflect that truth. As the philosopher Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Ethan became free the moment he realized his life was worth protecting. We become free when we do the same.